This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the best all-in-one platform for all of your website building needs. Hey guys, it's Celestia, and a few months ago I made a video discussing why certain art styles get more hate than others after the wave of hate directed at the jelly art style got me curious. In it, I essentially concluded that it wasn't just that those styles were super popular or quote-unquote overrated that made people dislike them so much, but because they were both popular and they included one very distinct polarizing element that viewers either loved or hated. With the jelly art style, it was the glossy, wet-looking facial features that artists and art appreciators alike either adored or could not stand at all. With the Cal art style, the other example I looked at, it was the so-called bean head shape that gained so much notoriety within the animation community because everyone either thought it was great and adorable or thought it was single-handedly ruining animation as a whole. Regardless of what aspect of an art style is so distinctly unique to it that it basically defines it, if it's something people are incapable of liking or disliking a normal amount without loving or hating it, that combined with immense popularity is, in my opinion, very likely to result in that art style being the target of ridiculous hate and controversy. And to be clear, I do still believe that. I think popularity combined with one very lovable or hateable element unique to a style is a recipe for disaster, usually in the form of TikTok hate comments churned out faster than the human eye can actually physically perceive. I don't think that's a good thing, in fact I think it's unacceptable, but I do think it's a feasible explanation for why this keeps happening time and time again. But lately it seems more and more like that unique element isn't even necessary anymore. People seem perfectly willing to hate on any art style that's popular solely because it's popular, and it seems like it's happening more and more often every day. I don't doubt that that's exacerbated significantly by the overwhelming toxicity of TikTok, where a lot of this hate is spread most prolifically, but I don't think that's the only thing to blame here. Human beings have been hating popular things for being popular for as long as popularity has existed, and for a lot of different reasons. And while that's obviously dumb, it's usually been mostly harmless. The only people that are really hurt by people hating stuff that's popular are the people that hate it, because they're defining their opinions by a desire not to be like other girls and depriving themselves of the opportunity to enjoy something that they might have otherwise liked. Obviously, there are exceptions when they start bullying people who do like those things solely because they do, but for the most part, the trend of hating what's popular has mostly been limited to edgy teenagers saying, no, I actually don't watch Game of Thrones because I have a mind of my own. But it's a different ballpark altogether when the thing in question isn't a piece of media but an entire art style. There can be real harm done by people relentlessly mocking anything and everything that's drawn a certain way, and that harm is being so increasingly and loudly amplified by social media that I want to talk about it. I think a lot of people think the hate for popular art styles is as harmless and insignificant as hating Marvel movies or BTS or those stupid Stanley Cups, or anything else that a large portion of society is obsessed with. And if nothing else, I'd like to at least try to bring attention to all of the ways it's not, because it does more damage to both artists and the art community as a whole than most people realize. Honestly, I didn't think I needed to make an entire video saying stop hating on every art style that's popular and actually provide reasons why not to, but here we are. Before I get into those reasons though, let me take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace, a longtime partner of the channel that's become so beloved by commenters at this point that some of you actually express alarm when a video of mine doesn't start with me shouting them out, and others are, ironically or unironically, shipping Duchess Celestia x Squarespace. And rightfully so, honestly. I support the ship, because I sincerely believe that they're the best website building and hosting platform out there. I've been using Squarespace since long before I started working with them on the channel to host my personal portfolio site, and they made building it so easy that I can never recommend them enough to any artist looking to do the same. And the exceptional portfolio templates they offer are just the beginning. They have such a massive library of gorgeous, professionally designed website templates that no matter what kind of site you want to build, they have the perfect template to build it from. Customizing them to meet your needs is just as easy too, since Squarespace's editing system lets you make absolutely every aspect of your site your own, with features that help you maximize your site's functionality and visual design tools that make establishing valuable brand recognition easy. There's pretty much nothing you can't do. Even turning it into an online store is easy using the Squarespace commerce platform, which lets you do everything from managing your inventory to taking sales and even to printing shipping labels. And Squarespace makes it just as simple for your customers to pay, offering all of the most popular payment methods like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay, as well as the option to send individualized invoices to specific clients, which is a godsend for artists taking commissions. Whether you're an artist in need of a portfolio, an entrepreneur building an online store, a creator setting up an interactive blog, or a small business owner making a landing page, Squarespace is the place to do it. And you can find out yourself by going to squarespace.com to get your own free trial today. And once you've built the perfect site that you're ready to launch, you can get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain by going to squarespace.com/DuchessCelestia, linked in the description. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video, and please go check them out. Now Now, let's talk about the growing hate within the art community towards seemingly any style that's popular. It's not a new phenomenon by any means. Art has always been cyclical, evolving through trends that rise and fall in popularity over time. And naturally, that's always resulted in a significant portion of the population expressing consistent distaste with whatever style is trending simply because it's trending. By no means is that phenomenon limited to art either. Hating things just because everyone else loves them has always been one of humanity's favorite forms of meaningless, redundant contrarianism for contrarianism's sake. There are a lot of different reasons for that. For some, it's a desire to be different, to stand out from everyone else, to demonstrate their superior taste by refusing to enjoy anything common or mainstream. They want to prove that they're cool and impressive and unique, refusing to enjoy things everyone else likes in some ridiculously obvious attempt to seem like they're better than everyone else, so of course they wouldn't like what they do. These are the people whose hatred of popular things is based more on insecurity and their desire to project a carefully curated image of superiority and uniqueness than any actual opinion on the things themselves. Most of them don't even know enough about the thing to know whether they like or dislike it, but have decided that they don't enjoy it before actually seeing if they do because they've already written it off as bad based on its popularity alone and not its quality. They criticize those who like it for not thinking for themselves and forming their own opinions and instead just following trends and jumping on the newest, most popular bandwagons, without realizing that they're just following the trend of hating popular things, and in turn, not thinking for themselves or forming their own opinions either. In an effort to prove that they're free-thinking individuals rather than trend-following conformists, they're forming opinions based solely on a rejection of other people's opinions rather than their own personal values, inadvertently proving the opposite point. Others, though, do have more legitimate reasons to hate popular things, even if it is solely on the basis of them being popular, primarily as a result of overexposure. If you like a song at first, and then the radio plays it every 3 seconds, it's playing at every store you go to, and it's permanently stuck in your head to the point that you hear it in your nightmares, you're probably not gonna like it anymore. That's not because it's a bad song or you dislike any element about it in particular. It's purely because the constant overexposure to it has made you so sick of hearing it that you no longer enjoy what you originally liked about it. And that's really the same with everything. Media, music, art styles. It's hard not to get sick of seeing or hearing the same thing over and over again, whether you liked it at first or not. And it's even harder not to let that dislike turn into pure hate when you didn't even like it at first and now it's inescapable. Overexposure is very polarizing in terms of its impact on opinion. If you see something every once in a while, it's not hard to have a balanced view on it. You can like it or dislike it. If you see it every single day and it's always on your mind simply due to its immense popularity, either that like will turn into love or that dislike will turn into hate, for most anyway. And for some, it's also a matter of expectations. If you saw a movie you'd never heard of and thought it was good or even just okay, you'd probably still enjoy it. If you saw the same movie after hearing everyone around you spend every waking moment talking about how great it is for months, what you would have otherwise found good or just okay is much more likely to now seem bad and disappointing because it fell so short of the expectations that the hype for it caused you to set. The point is, people have a lot of different reasons for disliking popular things based on their popularity alone, some more valid than others, and all of those reasons apply to the hate towards popular art styles too. The majority of people who dislike styles that are trending have the exact same motivations. They're sick of seeing them all the time, they think they're overrated, or they want to prove that they're cool and different because they don't like what everyone else does. What sets the hate for popular art styles apart from the hate for popularity in general isn't the reason for it, but the manner in which it's expressed and the consequences that expression has. Because there are many, many more than people seem to think, from the personal to the artistic. The damage done on a personal level is the most obvious and easily the most significant. Social media has amplified our voices, and anonymity has left us believing that there are no consequences for using those voices to spread hate and negativity. And both have combined to create a culture where hating popular things is never done quietly anymore. Less and less often will people decide to simply not engage with things they dislike, choosing instead to comment on it directly and share even their cruelest of opinions without hesitation. And when the popular things they dislike are Stanley Cups or Marvel movies, even if they do leave hateful comments about them, those comments generally don't target any specific individual. But when the popular thing they dislike is an art style, the comments they leave on the posts of the artists that use it are targeted at individuals. Specific artists are the direct recipients of this hate, and this causes so much more pain and hurt than a general statement. Hating popular art styles more often than not means openly and loudly hating on every single artist who uses them, something that seems to constantly lead to more harassment and bullying with every passing day. Art is a very personal form of expression, and regardless of what or how an artist draws, they're expressing something meaningful to them. Having that meaning completely dismissed and devalued simply because the style it was drawn in is popular hurts. And not only does it hurt emotionally by leaving artists insecure and afraid to share their work, it hurts artistically by devaluing the individuality and uniqueness of every single piece of art that falls into that category. When we dismiss an entire art style as bad solely because we think it's overrated and undeserving deserving of its popularity, we dismiss every other element present in it that isn't characteristic of that style. Look at anime. People constantly hate on the quote-unquote anime art style for being generic, but all of these very different and unique pieces of media with memorable art styles fall into that category. All of them possess the elements typical of the anime art style, yeah, but they also possess their own individual, personal elements that set them apart from one another. To write off the entire anime art style is to say that none of those personal touches that those artists contribute to theirs have any value. A piece of art done in a popular style is still going to contain other elements specific to the artist's own style that aren't present in other pieces done in that general style. And just because that general style has become mainstream doesn't mean that every piece done in it is devoid of any of those other unique elements. It's like saying all horror movies are bad because Paranormal Activity was really popular but you hated it. And in that way, an art style is almost like a genre of media. There are characteristics of horror movies that are present in all movies made in the genre, and then there are unique characteristics specific to each individual movie. Defining all of those movies only by the generic characteristics typical of their genre means wholly disregarding all of the unique characteristics that each one contains. And it's the exact same thing with art styles. Calling an entire art style basic because it's popular is saying none of those other elements matter if the recognizably popular or overrated ones are present. And that's pretty much a lose-lose for everyone involved. The people writing off those styles are diminishing their own ability to appreciate art for anything more than its most basic of characteristics, and limiting their enjoyment of artistic expressions that they may have otherwise actually enjoyed. The art community as a whole suffers because artists' creativity is stifled when they're told what style they can and can't use, neglecting to acknowledge how beneficial and valuable of a role artistic trends have played in the development and growth of art for years. And the artists? Well, it goes without saying that they're hurt the most, and in a multitude of different ways. First of all, we're essentially being told that there's a right and wrong way to draw if we want our work to have value. Even if we like a popular style and want to incorporate it into our art, we're effectively told that our own preferences are less important than avoiding being some mainstream generic artist like all the rest. If the way we enjoy drawing becomes popular and subsequently becomes the subject of hate for that popularity, we suddenly face immense pressure to change it, even if it's at the cost of our own enjoyment of the creative process and even our art as a whole. Not only are we told that our creative choices, expression of meaning, and artistic individuality mean nothing if our general style is viewed as basic or overrated, but we're also told that we're wrong to like the way certain styles look if they're popular, and that we need to curate our own artistic and aesthetic preferences based on public perception rather than our own views and opinions. We can't just explore our styles and experiment with new ones we like. We have to also avoid styles that are too generic or mainstream, even if they're defined by visual elements that we love. Popular art styles are popular because a lot of people find them visually appealing, and if you find them visually appealing too and you want to replicate that in your own work, you should be encouraged to. That's how styles grow. But if you're not allowed to replicate those elements for fear of being instantly written off as trend-following and unoriginal, your own growth as an artist is now being subjected to severe limitations and restrictions that might end up preventing you from developing your own unique style that you personally enjoy. It forces us to prioritize uniqueness more than actual personal expression, and actual personal expression is the whole point of art. Not having it valued at all is quickly coming to mean that art is made less to communicate something meaningful or create something that the artist finds beautiful, and more to appeal to public opinion and meet others' expectations for originality and value. Artists already face so much pressure to find their own recognizable art style that they love and that sets them apart as unique and memorable, especially with the artistic oversaturation that we now face as a result of social media. The last thing we need is for popularity-hating contrarians to add more to that pressure by saying that an art style also can't look too much like a popular one if they don't want to have it immediately devalued as insignificant and unoriginal. And on that note, let's talk about originality for a second, because the supposed lack of it is what most people cite as the reason for hating popular art styles, and I think that's ridiculously stupid. As I've already said, every artist contributes unique elements that are purely their own to their work, regardless of the wider style in which they draw, and those elements are original to them even if that wider style is not. But beyond just writing off the originality that is present in popular art styles, it also perpetuates the already far too prolific idea that art needs to be completely original and unique to have value. Yes, striving to create and express something with your art that's purely your own is important and validating, but doing so with a style that's totally unlike any other isn't necessary for you to do that. Your art can look like other art and still be good. Your style can be similar to one that's popular and still be unique. The idea that artists need to be constantly creating something new and innovative and never before seen with their work just for that work to have value is ludicrous, and it puts overwhelming pressure on artists to be breaking new ground with every piece they make and every element present in their styles. And they don't need to break new ground with every piece they make for their art to have value. Not every aspect of their style needs to be completely unique for their work to be original, so long as some are. I think a lot of the hate towards popularity is the result of the long-standing long-standing societal belief that the more common a thing is, the less valuable it is, which is in and of itself a reductive and flawed perspective. I don't think daisies are any less beautiful than orchids just because I see daisies all the time in nature and almost never see orchids. Popularity does not equate to a lack of quality, and it doesn't diminish the worth of the thing that's popular. Just because you see an art style a lot doesn't mean it's worse than a style that you see rarely. If anything, its popularity is a testament to the fact that enough artists love it and find it beautiful that they want to replicate it, and that in and of itself speaks to its value. Ultimately, what worries me the most about how normal it's becoming to openly and loudly hate on popular art styles just for being popular is how insignificant people seem to think it is. More and more people seem to think that commenting on an artist's work, "Oh my god, I'm so sick of seeing the jelly style, your art sucks," is the same as commenting, "Oh my god, I'm so sick of hearing about Stranger Things," failing to realize that the former has much more of an impact than the latter in more ways than they seem willing or able to see. Trends exist in art because people agree on things that they enjoy and find beautiful, and those things don't become less beautiful because they agree that they are and create art that reflects that. Trends have shaped art throughout history and helped it develop and grow and innovate, and the idea that popular art styles are bad feels to me like an outright insult to the value of that. Worse, the fact that the hatred of them is being spread as if it's as harmless as saying they hate a popular show is actively hurting artists and the community as a whole. It's like critical thinking has completely gone out the door, and art is being dismissed altogether if it's done in a particular style before the unique elements that each artist contributed are even acknowledged, much less appreciated. Artists are losing confidence in their work and dealing with more insecurity and fear of sharing it than ever, because the worry that the style they're using is too popular for them to be taken seriously is getting overwhelming. We're facing ridiculous pressure to develop completely unique styles that are derivative of nothing popular just to have our work considered original enough to be valuable. It's putting restrictions and limitations on creativity and stifling so many artists' journey to find their own styles, because they can't just draw how they want. They have to draw how their audiences want and in a way that's different than any popular style. Regardless of your reason for disliking popular art styles, you are valid for doing so. You are allowed to like and dislike whatever you want for whatever reason you want. But if you're going to express that dislike, consider that even if it's the same to you as disliking a popular piece of media, the consequences for expressing that dislike are not the same for art styles. It's not harmlessly, if irritatingly, contrarian. It's leading to artists dealing with personal attacks and bullying just because of how they draw. It's leading to immense pressure to change your art style just to avoid conforming to the norm, regardless of what you actually find visually appealing. It's reducing art's value to simply whether or not it's different enough, and it's neglecting to acknowledge the positive importance trends have always had on the art community by vocally hating on those trends rather than simply disliking them quietly. Art is not shallow or basic because it aligns with a current trend. The trend exists because the art that popularized it was so well received, and artists finding it beautiful and taking inspiration from it is not a bad thing. Art is expression, and the meaning of that expression is not diminished by the popularity of the manner in which it's expressed. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Special thank you as always to channel members Joseph Solomon, TC Pratt, Zelda Deverak 42, Haruki Saluzzo, King Good James, CP Lil Thing, Art of Amethyst Fable, Extinction Animation, and Andy the Hedgehog, as well as patrons Batman, Kyle Lowe, Blue Swanson, Cora Fear, Jamisha Walker, Alengshi, Kim Yen, Crazy Asar, Gen Tong, Grayson Xavier, Blah Mage, TC Pratt, Finn, Celine Merriman, Ash, Eldritchia, The Stray Dog, Ulura, Greg Noble, Decagon, Jenny Chen, Catbus, Mac, Lucy Yamajiki, Selena Beebe, Pryday, Totally Shogun, Insomniac Sleep Schedule, Ling Tang Wong, and Marie Greer, and I'll see you in the next one.